Now, I know that there is a push to return to unity consciousness, and I know everybody from every different walk of life has their own way of getting to that end goal. I'm just saying that every once in a while, I tend to disagree with even some of the big names out there. You know, some of the people that really have a lot of knowledge to pass along to society, to the world. But even when they're passing along, I still have my own mind. And I'm like, I agree. Ooh, I disagree with that. Ooh, I disagree with that. Even though we have small disagreements, can we work together? Or are those things that we disagree on game changers to the point that I have to turn my back on your philosophy and go about my way? You see what I'm saying? Not everything has to be, we're all friends and we all work together. I mean, you should work together to a good common goal. But I'm not saying that you all have to agree on every single aspect of everything in order to work together. On the other side of the coin, you don't have to align yourself with everything out there just because the person talking is spiritual, just because the person talking is motivational, just because the person talking is exciting, just because the person talking is popular, does not mean that you have to automatically get down with their ideology. You know, I want people to disagree with me. That means you're using your own mind. Now, if you just so happen to agree with a lot of things I'm saying, cool. We're operating from a very similar frequency. Cool, glad to have you. But if there's ever a point where you disagree with me, then crazy idea, disagree with me. And if you want to bring it up in the comment section or bring it up to me, then sure, state your opinion. But don't come out the woodwork telling somebody that they're wrong because maybe they know something you don't, or maybe you're both right. You ever thought about that? You know, we live in this world now where there's one answer to everything. Find out one answer. And I'm like, why is there one? You know what I'm saying? You know, I was that kid in elementary school, for example, when they first were teaching you money. And they say like, okay, class, on these blanks, you have two lines. Make this equal 100 cents, aka make this equal $1. So then I would just do 99 cents plus 1 cent, 100 cents. 98 cents plus 2 cents, 100 cents. That was me as a kid, right? I'm like, why would I mean, if that's what it equals, why would I stress myself out about doing this? You know, if there was 3 blanks, 97 cents plus 1 cent plus 1 cent plus 1 cent equals 100 cents. That was me. But someone could just as easily put 50 cents plus 50 cents equals $1. Someone could easily put $1.10 minus 10 cents. You see what I'm saying? Guess what? We all ended up at the same end goal. We all ended up at $1. So who's to say who's right and wrong? Maybe some people don't want to subtract money and some people only want to add. Maybe some people got too much and they want to subtract. Maybe some people want to multiply. Maybe some people want to divide. Maybe some people want to do a combination of all of them. And either way, we all ended up at $1. So who was right and who was wrong at the end? None of you. Nobody was right. Nobody was wrong. You see what I'm saying? That in itself could to like, you know, kind of contradict what I'm about to defend, but it's like that in itself is the quote quote in the duality that people want, but they have a very bad time of articulating it. You know, I think that people actually, before I get into what I wanted to say, I think that people confuse duality with polarity. Very similar. There is some overlap in them, but I when people say like an end to duality, I'd be like, what, how do you even achieve that? Once again, could be above my level of understanding. But from where I'm at, from my perspective, duality is necessary at all times. As I've used these examples all the time, there's no up without down, there's no left without right, there's no hot without cold, there's no rich without poor. So I do live in a world of duality. You know, I don't really care too much about horoscopes and zodiac that too much, but along my journey, I do remember that it's like, you know, I'm a Gemini Cancer cusp, right? The cusp of magic, whoa, whatever that means. But it's like that drop of Gemini in me that really makes my world a world of duality. The two different voices in my head, the two different egos in my head, one sees the world as all light, one sees the world as all dark. When I exit the two pieces of my mind and as a whole, then I am in balance. Therefore, there is no duality because we are all on the same accord, working to the same objective. You see what I mean? But in my world, it's like, you know, if I'm operating from a place of abundance, then my quote, quote, dark side is paying attention to what the poor people are doing. You know, my opposite shows me where I need to be. For me being this contrarian, this lone wolf type of person, I do pay attention to the pack. I do pay attention to the masses, the sheeple out there. And I'm like, okay, what are the sheeple doing? The people that can't think for themselves, the people that are just waiting for the next thing to be scared of, the people that are watching the news every day so they can feel smarter than everybody else, watching the news as if it's accurate, as if it's giving you the information that's going to help you flourish, instead of just, all the news does is just pump your mind full of fear and anger and who to be mad at this week, this month, this year, but whatever, but nevertheless, whatever the sheeple are doing, I do the opposite of. Okay, they're telling everybody that everything is good. That means I'm preparing for the worst. They're telling everyone to be scared. That means I'm going to be the most calm. They're telling everyone to actually be calm. That means I'm getting away from what they're trying to take attention from. For example, for those of you that have been following crypto world, for those of you who've been following the economy, that one bank just collapsed, SVB, the Silvergate something, Silvergate, I don't know. Nevertheless, SVB bank just collapsed. And the people were like, the bank people were told, oh, it's okay, calm down. The people that were investing in the stablecoin, the circle-backed stablecoin, USDC, we dip beneath the dollar, but you're supposed to be stable, right? Oh, it's okay, guys, it's okay. All right, I'm watching you. I'm not saying I'm the most well-versed in what's going on here, but I'm watching you. You're telling everyone else to stay calm. That means I'm prepared for the panic. You see what I'm saying? I always do the opposite of what the masses are being fed, right? The funny thing is, though, is that I live in this world of duality. This might sound like a very selfish part of me. Oh, you're spiritual and you're this and that, but you still want people to be poor? Yes. Hot take. I want there to be poor people. I want there to be rich people. I want there to be unsuccessful people. I want there to be successful people. Right? Now, yes. I don't really compare myself in a way that says like, I compare myself to you as in, I'm better than you. I compare myself to you in that way. No. However, I do have to take mental notes. It's like, yeah, I'm all spiritual and I don't judge people and blah, 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 blah. But I still have to see where it is that I stand. Okay, let's see. I'm here now. I see people ahead of me. But damn, I see a lot more people behind me now. I think I'm doing good. You're allowed to compare yourself to other people. I get it in the motivational context. Yes, don't compare yourself to people. Focus on yourself. But when you are doing your own reflection and you're really sitting here like, okay, where am I at in life? Where do I want to be? And you see that individual sailing by on their mega yacht. Okay, well, that's something you don't have. You have to compare yourself to that person on the mega yacht. They're swimming, or they're just flowing right by you, and you're sitting there on the side, you're sitting there on land just watching them go by. That's a comparison. But that's a good comparison because I want that. That's the next level for me. And now that you've identified your end goal, start working towards it. Whether you want to work and put your head down and grind, or you just want to let the world, or you want to let the world do it for you, you want to manifest it. Whatever. They're both just a means to an end. They're just to a method. They're just a technique to get to your desired end goal. The funny part is like you can never get rid of duality because two high vibrational people might be moving at two different polarities. You see how this is different? So that person's sense of duality is going to be different. Someone that's operating from this pole, sense of duality is going to be different from you operating from this polarity. It is or it ain't. It's rich or it's poor, it's high or it's low, it's hot or it's cold. What's the word I'm looking for? Your comparisons are going to be different based off of your perspective, and your perspectives are dictated by your polarities that you're on. Hot, cold. Well, someone operating from this side, someone's going to say, dang, today is hot. It hit 120 today. Dang, today is hot. Or today's, well, it's a pretty chill day. Okay, if someone operating from that perspective is going to say, okay, hot is 120 degrees, but cold is 80 degrees. Their hot and cold is different for someone operating over here. Dang, it's negative 20 degrees today. Dang, it's a chiller today. Or dang, it's a pretty nice day. It's actually broke 0 degrees today. Amazing. You see this? So in that example, you have both duality and polarity. I almost said duality. You know what I'm saying? But you have polarity and duality and the same exact thing, but they are both different because they both have their unique little things to them. Am I doing the best job of explaining it? No, and I'm going to keep it broad on purpose, so you go fill in the blanks yourself. Come up with your own principles, come up with your own techniques, come up with your own philosophies, and see how they measure up with the elders, the old teachers, the old masters. But then based off of this, don't be afraid to be ignorant. Don't be afraid to be immature in front of the masters, the elders, the experts, because you in your ignorance might be putting things together in a way that was different from them. And even though you're going off a different path, at some point you may just return with the correct answer. You're going this way, might snap you to the other side. It might slingshot you to the final destination, or it might just be like, not this way, not this way. And along that journey, you learn 8,000 ways on how not to do something, which is just as valuable as learning how to do something. Failure is a good thing. The only L's I take in life are lessons. If you take losses in life, you are operating from a different set of duality. You are operating from a different polarity than me. If I experience failure in my world, that is like, I now know how not to do something. I now can take this information with me and utilize it in the next instance that I get to operate from this frequency again. You see frequency and you just put your hands in your pockets and say, okay, I guess I'll just stop here. And once again, I don't care what it is you're climbing at. I don't care if you want to climb the corporate ladder. I don't care if you want to be an entrepreneur. I don't care if you want to be a yogi. I don't care if you want to be a mystic. I don't care if you want to be a preacher. I don't care if you want to be anything. I don't care what you want to be. Why are you going to stop on your journey? What journey is a journey if you just stop and you just give up and turn back around? You see what I'm saying? Or that journey that you thought was going to be so long, you just tripled the pace, because now you're going to stop what you're doing, sit there and sulk, turn around, walk back to your original destination, sit there and sulk again, get re-motivated, then begin the journey again, get halfway through and quit again. And now you're just in a negative loop where you never learn your lesson. You never push past your old limitations. You're too scared to get out of your comfort zone and switch up the little dial bar of what extreme, what polarity that you exist on. What are your terms and conditions of your life? Some of y'all are just operating from the same paradigm that's not serving you. Some of you think that, because I understand that a lot of young men watch my channel, you think women are supposed to be hanging off of your shoulder, but you ain't doing nothing to make these women hang off of your shoulder. You want women hanging off of your arm, but you can't you can't curl a 10-pound dumbbell. Like, if you want to look at it literally, you want women hanging off your arm, but you're physically weak. You want women hanging off of your arm, but if you get into a disagreement with a woman, you're going to start a yelling match with her, thus entering your feminine and turning her off from you. You want women hanging off of your arm, but you can't even guide them to a higher level of spirituality, a higher level of understanding of the world. What's the point? You gave up on the journey of yourself because you're too busy looking at somebody else's life, and you never once came back to yourself. Let's elevate from just guys and girls and chase and tail. You want to own a business, and like in your world, in the small-minded business owner's world. Okay, I want to make just 1,000 more in profit. And once again, your goals are not my goals. But in your whole company, you just want to make $1,000. One person can make $1,000. You are a business. Think bigger. You know what I'm saying? Think bigger. That's your paradigm. That's your world duality. Okay, I didn't make $1,000 or I did make 1,000. Meanwhile, this dude over here is like, how do I increase my net profits by $10 million this year? Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, if I don't do that, dang, even if I do fall short, dang, oh no, I only made 8 million, dang. But I'm still not gonna move forward until I get to that higher level, until I shift my paradigm to a higher level of existence. You see what I'm saying? You want to go to the gym and you want to work out and you want to either bench press the highest amount. Well, how are you going to bench press if you never push yourself past your boundaries? You want to bench 600 pounds, but you too scared to go past 500. What's the point? How are you ever going to get there if you don't expose yourself to new information, to expose yourself to a new way of living? I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I'm just going, but that's just how my mind works when I get into this conversation. When I hear people talk about get rid of duality, in the world of duality, become one, everyone. Well, no, I mean, even the grand divine source has a masculine and a feminine principle. That in itself is duality. The entire source to which our cosmic laws were even created came from the masculine and feminine. That in itself is duality, at least in my understanding. I could be wrong and some of y'all could educate me on that information, but I'm just going, I'm just talking, man. I just see the world like this. Like, as going back to my original point, or not original point, but one of my points from earlier. It's like, it might sound like an asshole thing of me, but I want there to be poor people. How do you know you've made it? How do you know how abundant you are? How do you know how generous you are, or if there are not people that are in a position to receive your generosity? You give $10 to a homeless person, that's like enough for a week for them, if they use their money wisely. They don't go buy drugs and alcohol, of course. You give $10 to a person that like has a job and this type of stuff, they don't really care about it because they're not as far. They don't need that money as bad as the homeless person. So you give a random person $10, they might just say, "Oh, thanks," and go about their day. You give your $10 to a homeless person operating from the far end of a polarity spectrum, and they're just like, "Oh my God, man, I can eat for days with this. Dude, thank you so much." You see what I'm saying? Depending on where you reside on that spectrum is how you're going to see the world. And at any point, you can change these dials at any point. Some people say, "This is who I am. My zodiac 100% defines me." Well, I mean, hate to break it to you, zodiac horoscope people, but you do realize you're all of the zodiacs, right? Yes, you do have some that are, more prevalent in your world, and even I attest to that. The Cancer in me, the Gemini in me are very potent, I will admit. However, there are times we're going to act more like this one, to act more like that one, blah, 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 because we are literally holistic beings. We are whole. We are not divided into 12 zodiacs, even though there should be 13, but whatever. So, like, you're already getting partial information with that anyway. 13 is another sign of completion. This is why the elites use the number 13 a lot. 13, 31, 133, 331. These are all numbers that they use. For example, not to get political, but I'm trying to show you how gematria is used. Just a little quick sidebars for those of you still listening. I told you my brain's just going right now. For example, when we sent all those tanks to Ukraine, right? There's no misinformation here. There's no conspiracy, nothing. It's just like he just sent, what was it, 31 tanks? He sent like 31 Abrams or something like that. 31? Not 30, not 33, not 35. You sent 31. See, whenever I see numbers like that in the news, when I see the 31s, the 33s, that's a specific ass number. When we, like normal people, what do we typically do? Zeros, like, 30s or 35s, hundreds or 50s, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but he wanted to send 31. That just lets you know that there's something deeper happening. I'm going to leave it at that. But once again, bringing that little conspiracy thought, there's some people that are tuned into the stuff that's going on behind the scene, behind the veil. As I said, the people that are being driven by mainstream media do not get what's behind. They think that's the whole truth because it showed up on the news, and because it showed up on the news station, it has to be true, right? Doesn't that sound like the old version of because I saw it on the internet? Well, I saw it on the internet, so it must be true. But the older generations say the same thing. "Oh, well, it was on the news, so this is the next thing we need to be worried about." But it's kind of interesting, is it not? Another duality, another polarity. People that watch the news and people that don't watch the news. You see, one of the things that you have to understand is to get rid of duality means you get rid of existence as a whole. Because either you're with us or you're not. Well, that sounds like duality, does it not? You're either part of unity consciousness or you want us all to be separated and easily divided. Well, that in itself still sounds like duality. So you want me to join your way of thinking, but you and yourself are still operating from a dualistic standpoint. Either I'm with you or I'm against you. You see what I'm saying? It's like, the funny thing is, a lot of people are trying to adopt these principles, but yet they don't, at least, I don't want to say they don't understand it the way I do, but like the way I just see it differently. I see it as, because I move in such a non-balanced way, that I am practicing my unity consciousness, because I see everything as just an option. I'm not swayed. Now, overall, do I operate from certain paradigms in certain ways? Of course, because I harness the power of polarity. I harness the power of like the duality and such. I harness these powers. I use them to my benefit. So when I say I want there to be poor people, how do you know you're rich when you don't see any poor people around? How do you know something is important in a book for you students out there? If you highlight an entire page of text, you have effectively not highlighted anything. Highlight means that you are highlighting. You are bringing more attention to that word, to that sentence, maybe even that entire paragraph. But if you highlight the entire page, what is important? What was standing out on that page? You see what I'm saying? So either way, it doesn't matter how big or how small you get it. There's always duality. It's just if you are unaware of it, then you think that you've escaped it, but you never can, because it is universal. It is it's part of the system that helps this matrix. Now, I'm not talking about the matrix that's been designed by bad actors. I'm talking about the conspiracy. I'm talking about the matrix that was enacted for the bad actors to even make it. I'm talking about the womb that we all exist in, the divine feminine, the bosom of Mother Nature, the bosom of even like some people call it the firmament that we're stuck in. We are in the womb of creation, and once the firmament goes, then our parameters can extend. Okay, do we want to keep on studying what's going on here, or do we want to pay attention to all the planets I can now see in my sky? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, my mind is just going. Was this completely random and all over the place? Yes, it was. But I got so much on my mind. It's like I was gonna end it. Let's keep on going. Screw it. Like duality and all these things are inescapable. That's just my big point that I want to say, at least in my current position in life right now. There's success and failure, there's hunger and there's fullness, there's lack, there's poverty, there's awakenedness. I don't want to use woke culture, but there's like the act of being awakened, and then there's people that are still asleep. There's the people that think for themselves and people that allow people to think for them. If people ask you these questions, you're going to pick a side very quickly. You know what I'm saying? I try to cover all my bases, and once again, I know my target audience, but it's like, okay, you enter the dating world. For me personally, I don't like the girls that have a whole bunch of wigs, a whole bunch of girls that are superficial, girls that need everything being name brand. I find that to be weird. Just as any woman could look at me and be like, oh, he's not wearing anything special. Oh, he hides himself. Oh, he's wearing ponchos and socks with holes in them. Yeah, because I value comfort over flash. But hey, that's just our paradigm. And if we're not operating from likewise frequencies, why are we going to fight over it? A lot of people, they create the division first. See, here's the thing. There's, even in the conversation of duality, there is good and bad in everything. However, there is the naturally occurring duality. I mean, masculine and feminine principles in nature. No one had to identify them. No one had to create them. No one had to do it. They just were from the jump. And that just means duality has always existed. Therefore, you can't get rid of it. But anyway, when you break it down, it's like there's some people, there's the naturally occurring duality and polarities, right? But then there's the kind that is created. It's man-made. Therefore, it's going to cause division. It's going to cause conflict. It's going to cause drama. That's the bad duality. And I think that's maybe what people are meaning to get away from this, because now people are just fighting over stuff that doesn't matter. Your political party. If you believe in this, we can't be friends anymore. If you think men and women do this, we can't associate. If you think this is your definition of money, you can't do this. Oh, you invested in that, we can't associate. I mean, maybe, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But you do realize that all of that is here to keep you poor, keep you separated, keep you mad, keep you angry, keep you distracted from what's really going on. Which brings you back to another example of the duality. People that can see and people that cannot see. You see how this is all intertwined? This is literally in the fabric of our being. You cannot get rid of duality, because it's a universal principle. It's a universal law that you have to abide by. And these are laws that we can't break. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a dirty lawbreaker, and if there's a way that I can rise so much I can break universal law, oh, that would be so fun. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my own little personal thing. Even in the universal things, I want to break the rules. Why not? Let me see if it's possible. And if I find that it's not possible, then so be it. At least I tried. Something that people found to be impossible. You dare try to break universal law? Why not? If it's universal and can't be broken, then I shouldn't even be able to break it. But if I break it, that means that we were taught something incorrectly. And I have to go figure that out for myself. But anyway, this rambling went on in circles, but hopefully it made people think. It gave people a different perspective. Let me know what y'all are thinking. Till the next one.